Facebook, no Instagram tonight. Hopefully that'll be resolved by next week. I have Renikia here with us, and Adria should be on her way. I actually haven't heard. So, you know what that means. You got to hear me stumbling, bumbling. So if you can bear with me on that, I think we'll be able to, get it in. So what's going on, baby girl?
Everything's good. Everything's good. Good day in Atlanta today. How about yourself?
Oh, it was good. It was good. Until I found out about my Instagram situation, but I was actually headed to look at a property then, and we got the text message or whatever. So, we'll hopefully figure it out or whatever. So, while we'll wait here, we'll let you introduce yourself, and I'm going to just do a little updating here for everyone. So,
absolutely. So, I am, first and foremost, want to thank Ty for allowing me to be a part of the Flippinar that I absolutely enjoy each and every Thursday. My name is Renikia Williams. I am the founder and CEO of Fortune Key Financials, and we are about everything real estate and wealth. We're here to help you find the resources that you need in order to build the ultimate generational wealth plan for your family. Now, one of the flagship services that I have is funding. I'm helping you find the funding that you need to invest into your marketing plan or to do your fix and flip. You can go to findmynextdeal.com to take a look at our funding plan. We have a unsecured plan. If you have a 680 credit score or higher, you are able to leverage your credit to receive up to $150,000. As you see on the screen, here's all my social media handles. And if you have a quick question, you can email me at funding@fkfinancials.com.
Boom. So there we go. While we're waiting for everyone to get in here, this week I did a interview with my guy over at All the Leads and about probate, and they make it very simple for you to access probate basically with a click. Obviously, you got to pull out a credit card at some point or a debit card, but you can get all the leads for a particular county. But on top of that, they just don't sell leads. They actually give you the entire process of how you should pursue probates. The way he explained it, and I had already signed up for it. I knew I was going about it the wrong way. He basically goes about it where he's just introducing himself, and because the probate goes beyond just the real estate. Sometimes people need a realtor. Sometimes they'll want a cash buyer. Sometimes they just need someone to clean out the property. Sometimes they just need a value of the property. And, with all that, you just have to take in consideration that, they could be going through a trying time. Well, a lot of cases they are because a loved one has just passed. And one of the things I found myself doing is trying to just pick through the leads. And he said, that's a mistake because you never know what they own or whatever. Just because the mailing address and the personal representative, as they title, which could be the executor or the executrix, is that may just be the property where they live, but they may own 40 properties. He gave some examples of some of their subscribers or students or whatever you want to call them. That have experienced that exact situation. So, it opened my eyes to probate. I'm going to definitely add that as to my lead source. I didn't ever want to pursue it before because I just can't go down to the courthouse and do all that research. That it ain't going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So, I have to know thyself and what thyself is capable of doing. So, so basically, you know, that's how all of that, you know, went this week. And if you want to access that information, just go to YouTube and do a search for Flip Probates. And you should just put Flip Man behind it. You should see that video. Also, you can go to flipprobates.com to access that actual information. I don't know what's going on here. I don't see any questions on YouTube. What is going on here?
Adrian, as you find questions,
I know the problem.
As I get this together, I just want to talk about my POUR acronym that's on this flyer. I don't think people realize that POUR is not a financial state, it's a mindset. A lot of times we get so many opportunities on our life journey and we disguise them as that's too good to be true, or that's too much work to do that, or things of that nature. But we don't realize that those opportunities that presents themselves on our path is there to get us to that next mountain in life or that next level in life. And if we don't take those opportunities, we're going to stay in a standstill. So each and every Thursday, we come here and we give you that opportunity and we show you the way or a way to make money or stream of income in real estate using our wholesale strategies, which is the no money down strategy. Also, if you want to take your real estate to the next level and you want to start fixing and flipping, we have so many creative financing strategies to help you get to the next level. So don't pass over those opportunities that presents itself.
Okay, I found it. Okay. All right, and before we start, I've been thinking I've been getting spammed with somebody just sending me stuff or whatever through one of my websites for sellers. And guess what? It's something I actually paid for.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
I'm like, why do you keep sending me
too much? What you describe to
I got distracted when I was about to make us go live and stuff because I was looking at those leads or what. I'm like, I paid for this. And so anyway, so we do have the questions up now on YouTube. And let me see what we got here. See, okay, Charles Davis. I'm not sure where he's located, but that's fine. Can you wholesale a house that didn't need work but has 50K or spread but didn't meet the 70% rule? Got to be a little bit more clear on that because it could be a $300,000 house that you get in for $250,000. Technically, the numbers don't work. What you have to understand, Charles, you still are going to have closing costs. And in most cases, the buyer is going to participate in that twice, right? So that eats into that $50,000. More than likely, and if it's that type of, well, it doesn't really probably matter in most cases, you're going to have an agent involved, right? That's going to eat into that $50,000. They're not going to spend $250,000 to make $25,000. Just not going to happen. You might find a clown out there to do that, but you can't make a living on those type of people. But normally people with that type of cash money, unless they're going to probably live there, which again, you can't really live off of that as far as a wholesaler, is normally not going to work. Any thoughts on that?
I would just add to that, absolutely 100% of everything you just said. And I would just add numbers. One thing I love about numbers, it either makes sense or it don't. Your numbers don't halfway make sense. 1 + 1 will always equal 2. So stick to the formula. Stick to the formula. It either makes sense or it don't. You know, it doesn't not necessarily make sense because, you know, when you're looking at returns, you don't look at the profit. You really look at the return percentage of your money more so than the profit. So like you say, you know, if I got to spend $300,000-$400,000 just to make $25,000, it doesn't make sense. So it either makes sense or it don't. It's really like that.
Okay. What else we got here? All right. Isaiah Toussaint, I think I'm saying that correctly, says, do I need an A and B contract and a closing detail sheet? He's referring to the sheet that I give away. You don't have to use that. I just simplify, and they still may have questions for it, but you need the A, B, C to D. That would be your buyer side, the C to D, to answer the question. All right. How do I flip? Okay. This is a common question, but we're going to answer it. Anthony C. Ty, how do I flip a house with a buyer's agent? Well, there's a little different here. With a buyer's agent, what am I supposed to do?
So how do you flip a house with a real estate agent? Basically.
Yeah, basically what he's saying. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a normal process. I would definitely
Well, he said a buyer's agent, so he may have it on the contract with the actual seller, but the investors involving their realtor. That's a little different than a seller's agent you got in the contract. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
exactly.
So
Now
that's pretty easy though, right? Normally that's pretty easy. That's pretty easy. Normally, just a buyer's agent. That's no big deal. No, they just want to get paid. They want to find out how they gonna get paid.
And I usually always say this: if my property is off market, I will let them know that, hey, this property is off market. Therefore, we're gonna use all my off market contracts, and therefore you have to will either make the the buyer's agent or the buyer will have to make the arrangement with his own buyer to make sure, or buyer's agent to make sure that buyer's agent is paid. Now, the seller may be willing to pay that buyer's agent, but I have seen this a lot in off-market properties where a seller would market their property and say, hey, buyer's agents, I would need you to put your own percentage on top of that number. So it allows you to somewhat control the deal without having to use the GAR form or use the realtor's form. You can tell them that this property is off market, and I'm going to use all of my off market documents, and for the buyer to make sure his buyer's agent is taken care of.
Okay.
I was structuring.
All right. Let me see if we got anything over here on Facebook, and we don't. Okay, so we got a call on Facebook. A question on Facebook. In order to expect results on the cold calling marketing strategy, at what rate should you, be making calls on a weekly basis?
I think it's not a rate, it's a consistency. If I'm going to say I'm gonna make 10 calls every Saturday morning, I just got to consistently make those 10 calls every week. So it's a numbers game, yes. So just put it like this: the more people you call, the more opportunity will present itself. So the less you call, the less opportunity is going to present itself. So you have to determine that. I would say the more the merrier. But you determine that with the amount of time that you have to do your cold calling. The more people you can reach, the more opportunity you have on the table. But the key is consistent, because I can make 1,000 calls today and not make another call for another 6 months. Or you can make 1,000 calls every month consistent.
Correct. Now, the other thing on cold calling, as you said, being consistent is more important. Like you said, if you're going to make those calls on Saturday, you're going to make 10 every Saturday, then just make sure that that's what you're doing. Now, of course, that's not a lot. So, it may take a little time to get going there, and follow-up is key. And understand that when you're cold calling in a lot of situations, you may have to call a person 7 times, 7 to 10 times before you actually even get someone on the phone that'll to even talk to, and then obviously the numbers will take over from there. So just keep in mind, as she said, being consistent with what you're calling, and you definitely want to make sure that you're tracking everything, because a lot of times when you're leaving messages, people will call you back. And so you'll want to make sure that you're tracking where they came from, which list that you were targeting and all that. So the biggest thing is doing it, number one, but being consistent and make sure you're tracking all of your actual information. All right. So let me see here. All right. All right. All right. Carlton Darvell Jr. says, Flipman, what would you say the best marketing or advertisement strategy for someone new in wholesaling? That's a really good question. What's the best method of advertising and marketing someone new to wholesaling? What do you think?
I'll let you tackle that one.
All right.
The number one overall.
Yeah, see, a lot of that's dependent on your budget and all that kind of stuff, how much time you have to put into it. So if you could answer that question, some people are just not open to Bandit signs. And so I've fallen back in love with them. Hey, like she gave me another shot, hey, dropped 30 pounds, dropped the dude she was with, you know what I'm saying? hey, increased the income a little bit. Not that really matters to me, but it don't hurt none. Man, like, I just changed a couple of things with Bandit signs, man, and just call after call after call or whatever. And some of it just was simple. Just increasing this. I already know y'all going, what did you do? So I'm going to go and tell you, God dog. But I just increased the size of the signs. I was going with 9x24s and 9x24s. And I went back to what I did. This is what I did. Okay, I went from 9x24s, and then I saw one of my, I think he's a student of mine. I'm pretty sure it is. He had been using a portrait view where you got 18 across as far as the width and 24 inches height. So it's more of a portrait look, right? And so he's been doing that for a few months, and I'm like, man, it must be working. And so I said, let me try. I did them 12 across and then 18. So they picked up a little bit. Then I said, let me try doing 12x18s and then 18x24, but they're gonna say the exact same thing, but I'm gonna put different phone numbers on them, right? So I put different phone numbers on them, and I put out more of the smaller ones, and then the larger ones still produce more leads, right? Which it doesn't take a brain surgery if it's bigger than me, you know what I'm saying, people? Right. But so I'm talking about like 5 times more.
It makes sense though. I mean, it's more visible.
Yeah, more visible.
It's more visible. I mean, some people wear glasses. Some people can't see on the fly.
You're talking to one. You're talking to one. I don't wear glasses, but I can't see.
So it makes sense. It makes sense. The bigger your sign, the more people, more opportunity for people to see it. And to just, answer his question somewhat, I don't think there is one answer, but if I had to put a little bit more emphasis over the other, I still couldn't give just one. But I would say the top 3 or 4 would be Bandit signs, yellow letters or postcards, driving for dollars, and networking in your local real groups.
There you go. So again, a lot of it's going to depend on your resources. Now, if you only have a couple of $100 budget, you almost have to do Bandit signs if you're going to spend money. Now you can drive for dollars, that works, but understand it takes time. Hopefully you'll be fortunate enough to hit a home run on the first few that you come across or whatever. But bandit signs just you're just gonna reach so many people. Direct mail is good. Yellow letters or postcards, but understand it's expensive, right? Matter of fact, what I was talking about earlier, where those leads came from, I'm testing something out with the company that I deal with, that I refer you to, and they have just a different approach to it. That's where the leads come. They're the one that's sending me the leads or whatever. And so I'll get into it. We're basically in a beta test. So I see it's testing good because, but anyway, so what I'm about to say. So direct mail, again, that's expensive. Then you have the internet with a website, but no one will know your website exists unless you pay to have people to come there. And that is very expensive. But those are some really good leads now because they've actually sit down and Googled sell my house fast, buy my Atlanta house fast, buy my Birmingham house fast. That's a different mindset when you call them. Now, bandit signs is also because people are calling you from your message, but whenever someone actually proactively sits down and searches for seek selling their house out, then that's just a different mindset. Leads tend to be a little bit better or whatever, but all of it works. Ideally, what you want to do is start out with what you can afford, do a couple of deals, and add on more methods, because you need all types of people calling you, because some people won't call bandit signs, right? Some people won't respond to direct mail. Some people won't respond to cold calling. You see what I'm saying? So some people won't go online to the internet and search. Some people won't do it through social media. So if you got all those things of the people that will respond to all of those in separate ways, then you having all types of leads coming in from all types of potential sellers, and you just let the numbers play out as far as their level of motivation. So that's all I got to say about that.
Right.
All right. So let me go back up here. So I already see the questions coming in about what I said about those bandit signs, but whatever. I told you what I'm doing. I ain't gonna go back over it. So.
Right. Gotta write it down. Okay. Write it down.
Yeah, write it down. Go back and watch it. Okay. I don't know. Let me see. Could you help with I'm not sure what this means. Jay White says, could you help with a FOIA request information? I don't even know what that is. FOIA. I think I'm spelling that right.
What is that?
If you could be a little bit more clear. Portia, Adria, I have no idea where she is. Let me see. Uber guy says, I'm confused on how to get, I guess he says, a house under contract without paying for it first. This is my main question.
Wow.
Well,
so you haven't watched it in Wholesale.
Yeah. Now getting a house under contract, you can have $200 million in the bank. You still got to get it under contract. That's the normal process. Or you can have 2 pennies in the bank. Getting it under contract. So maybe you mean how to purchase a house without having any money. So I'm assuming that's what you mean, Uber guy. So just understand, all real estate transactions start with the contract. Whether it's a $10,000 property or a $10 million property, normally all start with a purchase and sales agreement. The title of that agreement is a purchase and sales agreement, right? And so basically, you and the seller have agreed that you're going to purchase the property on this date, at this price. You agreed to who's going to pay what portion of the closing cost. And in our cases, we're buying it as is, so that eliminates a lot of the what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of the stipulations that you'll see in other detailed contracts. And then you're going to have an inspection period or due diligence period. So, it's 10, 14 days or whatever, just in case you can't locate a buyer. So with that being said, once you have that property on the contract, you don't own it. You just have agreed that you're going to purchase that property. All right. So in that time frame, if someone wants to buy you out of the deal or buy your contract, that is perfectly legal. So you may have a property on a contract for $100,000 that may be worth $200,000 in excellent condition. As Renika said last week, I was saying, what is it going to cost to make that house look like that? That means taking in consideration the repairs, right? And so if someone comes along, cash buyer, says, hey, I want to buy you out of this deal for $120,000. Now you have contracts A and B with you and the seller, and you have contract C to D with you and the buyer. You get the difference between the two contracts, which is the $20,000. You have contract A, B, $100,000, contract C, D, $120. You get the difference between that is legal. I don't care where you are in the U.S. Yeah. So, boom. You can explain it better than I did.
That's it. I wouldn't say anything different. It's just that simple. Keep it simple. Yeah.
There we go. You heard it from the missus. All right. Okay. So, all right. Mark P says, how much money can you make from probate leads? Well, Mark is just a lead. No different than a bandit sign lead or pre-foreclosure lead, which is a little harder. A bird dog lead, a cold calling lead, a direct mail lead. It's just a lead.
It's all relative to what the investor or end buyer can sell the property for, which is the ARV. And it's all reference to how much rehab work it needs to go into the property to sell it for the after repair value. So you know, the amount of money is endless. There's no cap to what you can really make, but it's somewhat capped by what the property is worth and relative to how much it's going to cost for the investor to invest in this property to sell it for the after repair value.
Okay. They say the FOIA means Freedom of Information Act. And Miss Teresa Beauchamp says, I don't get what that has to do with real estate. I know Miss Beauchamp. All right, Beauchamp. Hey, keep it calm up there and be more. All right. Let me see what we got here. We didn't have anything on Facebook. Let's see. Kyrie Kriya's back to cold calling. Someone said, what's the best open call strategy for cold calling? I guess what's a good opening? That's going to be up to the individual. A lot of different things work. One of the things that I use, I was just going over a young lady that helps me, try to keep organized around here. She was doing some cold calling. She wants to do it. So I'm glad that has more courage than I do. So anyway, so we're calling on property. So the opening statement is, good afternoon. I'm calling to speak with the owner about buying their property at 123 Main Street. The reason I do it that way, not saying it's the best way, but I'm trying to break the ice, because you just want to say I'm calling to speak with the owner of 123 Main Street. Then you put people on the defensive. Why are you calling about my property? But I threw the word in there, buying their property at 123 Main Street. I'm telling you what I want before you even say anything, before the seller even says anything. Not saying that that's going to guarantee they're going to work with you, but I'm letting them know from the opening statement, what I want. I'm not here to try to sell you anything. I'm in the business of giving out money. What's a good opening statement in?
No. I mean, I would have said nothing different. I mean, you want to catch them in that first statement, that first sentence you speak to them. You want them to know who you are and what you're calling them for. And so I think that statement is 100% perfect to when you're doing cold call. So I wouldn't change anything.
All right. Alex Marcia says, would you recommend forming an LLC? And if so, when should you form one?
I would say if you're doing a fix and flip, yes, because all hard money loans only will be lent in a LLC. But if you're just starting off and you're doing wholesaling, as we always stated, use what you have. If you don't have enough money to purchase an LLC for your first deal, do it in your name. But when you do make that money, just reinvest back into yourself, reinvest back into your business, so you can start purchasing or wholesaling your properties as an LLC. Therefore, you can control the taxes on the back end of that as well and be able to do your write-offs. When you're doing it 100% in your name, you're not able to write anything off. So just, use what you have when you're first starting off, but invest back into yourself over the first couple flips, so you are able to control your taxes and things like
that. Okay. All right. Mark, no, I'm going to read another one here. Well, the same people answer the question, so I'm just going to ask them. All right. All right, when I went to find probate leads, I only found the names. Is there a way to find the address? Yes, flipprobase.com. Go to YouTube. That way, you're already here, but go search on YouTube when this is over, flipprobase.com, and put Flipman behind it and watch that video. All right. Let me see. Oh, some Ricardo Joseph asked you a question, Renika, specifically. Mm-hmm. Hey, Renika, how soon can I get funding after starting your program?
It really depends on which program. The unsecured gap funding program takes about, once you do the paperwork, takes about 7 to 10 days, and meet all the conditions takes about 7 to 10 days. The hard money loans takes anywhere from 10 to 14 days, maybe all the way to 21 days, depending on how quick you can provide all the paperwork that is needed.
Okay. All right. Okay. There's another one for you, I think. Clavon Tillman, I guess is how you pronounce the last name. My team and I have 200 Bandit signs. We're about to go hard in Atlanta. My question is for Renika. Where would you definitely put them? Where would you avoid? Do you wait until Saturday, or is any day okay?
Typically Friday through Sunday in Atlanta. If you do it any other day, I mean, that's on you. You may get a call. You may get a call from the patrol officers or something of that nature. But I know for a fact they do not work on the weekends, and therefore a lot of them do go up on the weekends. But Sunday night, Monday morning, they begin to come up when people go back to work. As far as where to put it, entire Atlanta is hot. It really depends on, what are you trying to, look for? You looking for a good fix and flips? Are you looking for, buying whole areas? But, you can Google the opportunity zones that are really great flipping areas in Atlanta that's close to the downtown area. You can Google that, and there's a lot of other communities, maybe in the DeKalb County area, the Kirkwood area, East Atlanta area, and things of that nature. If you want to know more, just email me.
All right. Mitch Jr. from Facebook says, Flipman, would you suggest subject to deals? Well, not my thing, but it's definitely an avenue to generate income from real estate. Just like with anything, you want to understand the ins and outs of it, the pros and cons of it. So just not my thing, but that doesn't mean anything. We should all be able to recognize opportunities even if it's not an opportunity that we would like to pursue. So, but to answer your question, most definitely, subject to is something that, you know, you can definitely build an empire with real estate with. So, all right, back over to the U of the tube. Someone says, is there anyone here from Houston, Texas? I guess they will answer that, besides having a title company, attorney. All right, Thelma Green says, besides having a title company, do I need an attorney or any other party to help me with wholesaling or closing?
No, I mean, you need a title company or an attorney. Once you get the contracts to the attorney going to compare, going to complete all the closing documents for you. They're going to clear the title, make sure they issue a clear and marketable title to the end buyer. So there's not necessarily any other parties that you really need. If your end buyer is financing the property, you may want to just get some type of maybe contact them to make sure that their financing is in place and it will go through, because if they say that it's going to go through and they haven't completed, you know, their paperwork and things of that nature, that will hold up your end. So when someone is doing financing, you may want to contact the financing company to determine that this client or this buyer is a client of theirs and they are financing this property at this particular address.
Okay. Next question. All right. Tyler Bryan says, how to find the owner that the home is in an LLC. Well, it'll have a mailing address, no matter who's the owner. The tax bill has to go somewhere. Sometimes, depending on the state, you possibly can research who are the managing members or however they have a title of that LLC. So that's a possibility too. The Secretary of State or the Revenue Department, however that's handled in your particular state. But first, you can definitely reach out to them by mail. And sometimes you can Google the name of the LLC, and they may have an office number that you can just reach out to them and call. So Google is your friend. But first, I would reach out to them through direct mail. First I'll Google the LLC name along with the address, the mailing address that I'm showing, and see if I can come up with a phone number just from a simple Google search. And then the next step will possibly be to reach out to them by direct mail. The other thing, as I said, whatever government structure or whatever that allows you to search who owns an LLC. Sometimes that is not as simple as it sounds. So what do you think?
100%. I wouldn't say anything different. But when you search the property of the address, if it is an LLC name, there will always be a mailing address. And if that address is different from the home address, then that could be the mailing address for the LLC of the homeowner.
Okay. All right. Mark, he's actually, I can't, let me get to some other people. Let me see. All right. Phil W says, can I use, I guess, my one-page contract for mobile homes? Just understand with mobile homes that if land is not included in the transaction, it's going to be treated different, meaning that if it has to be moved, it's closer to being treated like an automobile versus a house if the land is not included, right? And because the reason I'm saying that is that because with a mobile home, the owner can easily have the title in hand if they don't owe anything on it. And there's no closing needed, right? They can transact the deal, again, if land is not included, with the lot itself is not included, without going through a closing. Just like when you sell a car, if it's your car, you got the title, a bill of sale, and the money, that deal is over with. You know, as far as the state is concerned, they registered or whatever, that's that person's down. Whereas with the house, you know, you can do a deal like that with a house, but most people just not going to do a deal like that with a house. They're going to go through the proper channels of going through a title company to get a title search, title insurance, and close it with either an attorney or a title company. So to answer your question about the one-page contract, it just depends. You know, what comes with the mobile home. If nothing comes with it, no, it's not going to do you any good, in my opinion. So, all right. All right. Is it DC Chris says, well, before I go, let me go to Aisha Brown. Does the probate strategy always have a fee? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Be a little clearer for me, Aisha. DC Chris says, is it okay to ask another wholesaler to see the contract when doing a JV deal? I've been getting a lot of other wholesalers calling from my Bandit signs. Well, you ask yourself, are you going to show your if you have a contract with a seller, or are you willing to show it to another wholesaler? So if you are, then game. But most wholesalers probably not going to do that. Now, the way I'm going to handle it, I don't have to actually see the contract in per se. But well, I'm just going to have a series of questions. I'm going to ask to know if I'm going to deal with them or not. Well, it's just so many factors. Do they have access to the property? Well, let me just say this now. We're going to do it one or two ways. Either you're just going to give me a price, and that works for me and you, and the wholesaler and I do a contract just like I'm the buyer, and whatever I make above that I keep, or we're doing a contract where I'm getting it. Oh my God, the dead has arisen.
Wow.
I'm getting it at the same price that he's getting it at, and we just split whatever is made whenever I bring the buyer to the table. So, you know, what do you think?
You know, it's such it's a good question, and it's such a iffy situation because personally, I'm not showing anyone my contract, but I have got myself in situations where these wholesalers don't have their end tight, you know, and here you are, you know, have your end buyer in place and they're ready to go, and then the wholesaler don't have their contracts in place, and it messes up the entire deal and makes you look like you're amateur because you selling a property that's not even tied up. So it's a thin line. Personally, you're just gonna have to trust me that I got my end tied up. But I have been in places where people didn't have the end of the contract under contract, you know, and it could mess up the entire deal. So it's such an iffy situation. You know, some investors, it could really rub some investors the wrong way. Like, how dare you ask me for my contract? You know, like, seriously, you know, you can build trust with one another and begin to build trust with these investors, that you all can build and do something, and you trust that they have their end, and you're going to go out there and put yours together. So it's such an iffy situation. I would say figure out who you're dealing with and see if you can, if it's, you know, it would be comfortable for you to ask to see that AB contract. If not, then it could be a situation where they may not have their stuff together and you all get to the closing table and it all fall apart, or it'd be a situation where you just have to trust that the wholesaler in between have their contract in place. You know, so I have seen it both ways.
Okay. Kelly Anderson on let me see if we got anything on Facebook before I do that. All right. Let me go to Facebook right quick. All right. Brianna Johnson says from Facebook, what should I do next? I called, I guess she said the cold calling number that I have and mailed to them, meaning the seller, I assume. I still can't contact this single property owner I drive past every day. What should I do? Well, only thing you can do, if you have a number for them, just follow up every couple of weeks. If you got a mailing address for them, just send out something every month. Just because they're not responding, their situation may not dictate that they're interested at this point. But if you be consistent with it, people's situations sadly change for, it don't have to always be bad, but where they're motivated to sell the property and they reach out to you, say, hey, this person has been contacting me. I'm sure if you are consistent at trying to reach out to them, you would be the first person that they would probably reach out to if they were interested in selling. It's a high probability anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I would just add to that, it's a numbers game. So try not to put all your eggs in one basket and focus only on one property. Have 10 or 15 or 20, 30, 40, 50 properties that you're, looking at on a monthly basis. And, so you can just, put a note towards anyone that you need to follow up in, next quarter, next 2 or 3 months, just put a note by that. But never focus and put all your apples in one basket and focus in on one address. It's a numbers game.
Agreed. I totally agree. Sound like you're in love with that property, basically what Renika is saying.
You will mess around and not make any money focusing on, a particular property.
Yeah, follow up is key, but in love, never fall in love. Follow up is key. It's just, we just looking for one night stands. The follow up is key.
This is the only time one night stands are
good. Hey, no falling in love with these properties, man.
Exactly. We call them situationships. This generation.
Oh yeah, situation. Oh wow. Came up with that. I've never heard that before.
Situationship. Yeah, that's what this new generation is.
I like that.
We got a whole bunch of situationships out here. Not quite a relationship, it's just a situation. Yeah.
Oh, wow, please. Oh. We're ready to take over.
Amen.
Oh, it don't pick up wherever you want to.
I can't hear you.
They can't hear you.
Because you got the mic all the way.
No, I finally figured out how to use it.
The right way?
Yeah, I went back and watched the video. The little white girl on there, she showed you how to do it, but I forgot exactly what she's saying. So I finally figured out how to use it. So you're going to have to get closer.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead, because my thing's...
What happened?
I don't know.
There it is.
Oh, okay. Leroy Smith wants to know, if one's credit score is 700, does he or she really need a minimum of one revolving credit line with a 3,000 limit? And does one's credit history have to have a minimum of 4 years? And this is in reference to gap funding.
Oh, that's one. You heard that?
Say it again. I mean, that was a good question, but it was a lot. What was the question?
700's credit score minimum, is it really necessary to have the one revolving credit line with a $3,000 limit? I guess a minimum of $3,000 limit. And does the credit history have to be a minimum of 4 years?
Okay. Yes to all those questions. So this right here, I want to say this about in relation to credit, because I think we don't really understand the power of credit and how to really use credit. So for a long time, the last generation used to say, don't get no more than 1 or 2 credit cards, never check it, don't use it. All of those are, it was probably cool at that time in life, but today's time, you need credit cards, you need credit history. So one of the things that we're taught that we need to discontinue is the fact that we only need 1 or 2 credit cards. It's not the fact that you have credit cards, it's what you do with them. The more, it's gonna come a time in your life that you will need more money than you have in your pocket. So that's when a credit card takes into consideration. So just to give you an understanding of how the banks look at your credit, the banks look at your credit and approve you from an unsecured standpoint, because secured assets are secured by the asset. But from an unsecured credit standpoint, the banks look at your credit and they determine what they're going to approve you for based on your credit history. So if your credit history and you only handle a $500 credit limit, they're not going to approve you for a $150,000 credit limit. You have to prove yourself to the bank over time that you can handle long, high limits. So if you stick with, I get people that's 60 years old and they have their $3,000 credit limit to the bank, they don't know how you can handle a $50,000 credit limit because you only handled $3,000 for the last 30 years of your life. So understand that we are in a game. You're either going to play it or you're going to get played, because we have to play the credit game. Play it. Yes, you do need history, because that's how a lender evaluates your credit worthiness over time. Yes, you do need high limits, because that's how a lender determine how the next highest limit they're going to give you based on what you currently have handled. So yes, and all I'm doing in this program is showing you how to play the credit game. It is a game. You plan, you are in it, and you either play or you're going to get played behind it if you don't know the blueprint to how to build credit. So.
All right, there you go, guys. Good answer. I think maybe a lot of jewels in that tidbit there in regards to credit and utilizing your credit for purposes outside of just short term, but thinking long term with your credit usage. Let's see here. Tidra on YouTube is having a hard time getting in touch with sellers. I can find the addresses, but not a phone number. Any suggestions on how to find phone numbers? So you can tie this into the question. Someone says they've driven for dollars. Now they need to find the owners. How do we find phone numbers for owners?
Okay.
No, we haven't. Go ahead.
I'll say this and I'll let you finish. I use the skip tracing service. So there's a skip tracing service, the same service that most bill collector use and collection agency use to find you no matter where you go. All of a sudden they start calling you again, is because there are skip tracing services that can find anybody if you have enough information on that person. Just to name a few, you have People Search, you have TLO, you have, we always talk about this list. I'll tell you in a second.
That's not that one. I use, even though the Digulated, aka PropStream, has a skip tracing service, I actually create the list there, and I really like to use Mojo Dollar. They're very inexpensive, but their numbers are pretty good if you know how to upload the list and everything. So that's just a Google search away. There's plenty of services out there. And Tell Us is a good.
You have OK Plus, been verified, Prospect Now. And all of it is going to cost. Some of it is less costly than others, but you get what you pay for. The more you pay somewhere, the more accurate the information is.
That is very true.
All right. I wasn't here earlier to do the initial shout out. So hello, Mr. Zeno Yankee, Love Mitchell, Charles Jenkins saw me sneaking in. Portia, yes, I made it. Better late than never. Mr. Gigi, someone asked for a shout out. Let's see here. Ken, Martin, Mark, and Darnell. Say hey to Darnell, Ty.
What up, Darnell?
There you go. Ty can just get a shout out. That's all he wanted. April wants to know, what is the best way to hire a bird dog to work in other states? So Facebook, Craigslist, what you gonna do?
I would say it's no different from finding a bird dog locally. you know, social media connects everyone. You know, I would say definitely use social media. You have Craigslist. Social media and Craigslist is probably going to be your top two services into locating other wholesalers or bird dogs in the area. I would try to locate with other wholesalers. You know, someone who already, you know, in this business, they're already wholesaling properties. They already know the local market, and they can begin to feed you deals right away. But definitely take advantage of social media and all the Facebook groups, the is it Flipman Facebook or Flippinar Facebook?
Yeah, it's a wholesaling real estate with the Flipman.
Yeah, which is a lot of people in there, you know, just, you know, not for sure that they're allowing to post to partner, but I'm sure you can.
Oh, yeah. We allow all of that. You know what I'm saying? It just, what's the word? Word networking. That's the whole purpose of it, networking.
So take advantage of your network right there on social media.
All right, Jay, want to give a huge shout out to Jay. She's on Facebook. She's going on her 5th closing for this year. She wants to say thank you, Flipman, for anyone and everyone that's getting encouraged. Keep it moving. Wholesaling works if you put in the time and the effort. So way to go, Miss J. Love it. Getting those checks. I don't know whether it's me or not, but you just went blank for me. Guys, it's still
refresh.
I can't right now.
Okay.
Let's see here on YouTube. Going to the next question.
Blank on mine too.
Trip J wants to know if a seller wants $1,000 or more deposit and I don't have the funds, how do I handle that?
The seller want how much?
$1,000.
$1,000. If you structure your wholesale contracts right, your contracts right, you should have your end buyer pay the earnest money. So if it's $1,000 to the seller, it's $1,000 from the end buyer. End buyer pays the earnest money. The earnest money goes to the attorney escrow account, and it sits at the attorney account into closing. So usually, if you structure everything right, your end buyer should be the one paying the earnest money.
Okay, there you have it. So sometimes, guys, you have to evaluate whether it's really a deal and whether you want to ask, borrow, or bring somebody else in it to make it happen. That's going to be kind of an evaluation of that particular deal. And it's a case by case. So a seller asking for more than usual deposit is going to be all about the numbers. As Renika said, the numbers got to make sense for that to work.
And also you can structure your earnest money to be due after the due diligence period. I never give up earnest money before my due diligence period in, because I don't know if I want it or not, and there's no need for me to exchange money until I know that I want it. So you can structure your earnest money to be due, you know, the last day of your due diligence period, or the next day after your due diligence period. So therefore, during your due diligence period, your focus is finding the end buyer anyway, and that end buyer must put up earnest money immediately.
All right. A huge shout out again, another shout out for CJ Bowen. He wants you to know, Flipman, what's up? He just closed a $26,000 deal, and he says, thanks for help getting us started. And he signed on Mojo as well.
Boom. That's what's up.
That's what's up.
Where's the gator?
That's it.
We'd love to hear a little bit more about your deal, CJ. If you're interested in sharing it with our flip community that we have here. Abdullah Rushdan wants to know, how do you value a fire damaged property?
It's repairs. What did you say last week?
Come out there and do the evaluation.
Yeah, you like you said last week, what is it going to cost? You find the most comparable comp, the house been renovated. What is it going to cost to make it look like that house? Called AK repair call.
All right. And if you can't estimate that, you know, position yourself like you're going to be the buyer for this property and see if you can get a contractor to come over there and give you a free quick estimate.
Okay, LA Real Estate, this is from YouTube, wants to know, when putting out 100 Bandit signs, how far apart should they be? I believe you said 1 to 2 mile radius. Should you put them on every other pole, off the main dragging neighborhoods? How far apart?
Oh, wow. Man.
That's a good question.
I have a video. It's titled, there's a lot of my titles are going to change, but you can always put Flip Man behind stuff and you should be able to find it. But I have a video titled Ride Along Bandit Signs, and just put Flip Man. And I'm actually out in the street with a son, mom, and dad where I was showing them here locally. Somebody I met up in Bed Bath and Beyond, I think. And I agreed to work with them. And but anyway, I'd show you where to do it. But to answer your question, you want to be visible, but invisible as much as possible. You don't want to just go crazy on the main streets or whatever, because you make it easy for your signs to come out. You want to be within neighborhoods, off freeway exits, ATM drive-throughs, bank drive-throughs, fast food drive-throughs, drugstore drive-through like Walgreens, CVS, or whatever. So you're always thinking outside the box. Man, a lot of people jam up at this intersection or at this part of the street and within this neighborhood because they're coming through a stop sign, but it's not so visible that, you want to do a combination of things. And a lot of it is just testing. If you've never done it before, the easy thing is to identify where you see other bandit signs and then expand from that point. If you get 100 bandit signs and try to put them out over a weekend, the worst thing you could ever do is do that, and all 100 of them are down by Tuesday. So if you've never done it before, do 20. Wait about 5, 6, 7 days, see how many of those up. If most of them are still up, then compound on those and just keep spreading out. And you just want to identify certain areas to do that with. You got to get outside your comfort zone and learn your market, especially if you're in a larger city. In my opinion, the opportunities are just endless. But just look at that video. I think it'll help you a lot.
And speaking on bandit signs, Ed Gordon has actually, Ed, you might be on to something. Ty, you're pretty tech savvy and stay up with the times. He says he's been thinking about making a bandit sign with nothing but a big QR barcode on it.
No.
For people to take a picture of it, then we'll automatically take them to the website.
No.
What?
Out of pure curiosity.
No.
What was it?
You
to put a QR code.
No. I don't ever want to poo-poo someone's idea, but trust me, somebody that has spent a lot of money doing a lot of different things that are unconventional. You have to
no
understand.
No one is stopping at your bandit signs to get out, to scan it with their phone and the barcode.
Okay, so take the bandit sign idea out of it. What if you put it in, I don't know. I'm halfway thinking I'm supposed to put some stickers in there.
I mean, you can create some type of postcard or flyer to go into local restaurants and businesses with a code on it.
Yeah, you got to pull up an actual app to do that, right?
Exactly. And that means that people got to download this app.
Let's just think this through now. We're not poo-pooing your idea, guy, but I'm just letting you know from real world experience of dealing with these people.
Yeah.
I went to a house today, right? We couldn't get inside. They couldn't figure out the keys. The owner was 91 and the brother was 81.
Okay, just to stop you there. I thought so. Google can do it.
And these people.
So they got to figure all that out.
And they probably still have a flip phone.
Come on.
So you want to make it as simple and easy as
possible.
Personally, I'm young and into a technology, but if I have to download an app just to get your information, I probably mix it. I'm probably gonna mix it.
I'm telling you, man, you're dealing the most of the people that own the real estate.
You're too busy to
Yeah,
do
the most
something.
of the people that own real estate, they older people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We, my man, we may be 20 years from what you're talking about, at least 10. And I'm not, again, we're not pooping. I may be dead wrong. You come back and laugh in our faces. But I'm willing to bet whatever you want to bet that it don't work.
I'm willing to bet it too. I'm willing to bet it too.
No, trust me. It is hard enough to pick up what they used to as a phone and dialing a number. And I put websites on there, and the phone calls, I number the website visits. Like, now more people are used to websites than our QR codes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So imagine it's probably versus the number of people that go to the site, and the site is just only on the sign, so that's the only way they'll know about it, versus the number of people that call is probably 200 to 1. So imagine what it would be for QR codes.
Negative. Now, what I would say works if you want to step outside the box is the text 1 2 3 4 5 number and get a text message. That works, so you may not put like a full number and just say text 1 2 3 4 5 or text I buy houses to 1 2 3 4 5. Everyone is so everyone knows how to text no matter what age you are. So I would definitely say the whole text campaign works. If I would step outside the box just a little bit, it would probably be more of the text campaign.
All right, Ed. Yes, it's a no.
Yeah, that's a no, man. In our opinion,
it's a no.
Hey, let us know, man. Let us know.
Yeah, it's too much.
Mr. Zeno said pass out business cards with the QR code on it.
Now, business card with a QR code, that's dope.
Okay, that'll help. No.
But the number of people that probably scan your QR code is probably slim because people just don't carry that app, like you said.
Yeah. But I just thought it maybe. I like it thinking outside the box.
I definitely like thinking outside the box, but a box that's gonna produce some cash in another box.
Exactly.
Okay, so My Play World wants to know, can I put my business name on the purchase and sale agreement even though I don't have an LLC?
Well, this is what bottom line, can you cash the check with your business name? If you can't, then no.
If your business doesn't exist, you can't do business in a business that don't exist.
Yeah.
Now, there's a step where you go get an EIN number that makes you more of a sole proprietor before you turn into an LLC, but that's still somewhat a sole proprietor is no different from you individually. We tax the same liabilities. So no. Just if you don't have your LLC is not formed yet, just put your personal name there. So you don't have any problems with cashing your check.
Okay. Did you, just because I'm going through Facebook, did you answer Shaquana's question about dialing systems?
I use Mojo dialer.
Okay. She just said that she was having difficulty using Google Voice lately and wanted to know if you suggested anything else for calling customers.
Vumber is great. V as in Victor, UMBER. It's not, no, that's something different. Google Voice is not a dialer. It's basically just a phone number hub to allow you to have a phone number, alter number besides your number. That's not the same as a dialer. If we're understanding the question correctly.
Okay. Let's see here. Still on YouTube, my name is Travis. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. Thank you, Travis, for telling me your name and where you're from. He just took action and purchased his first set of Bandit signs. If I see another sign in the area, is it better to choose another spot or mark it in the same area?
Same place.
Same place. McDonald's is not worried about Burger King.
There you go. You already knew it was coming. McDonald's. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, parties,
Yeah, they're not. They be on the
Juniors.
same strip, and they're not worried about each other because everyone's preference is different.
Like an hour ago, I just told somebody that in regards to some T-shirts. All these T-shirt people popping up on every corner. I said, do you think Burger King is worried about Wendy's building next door?
Right.
Enough burgers. Some people don't. Everybody don't like Big Macs. Everybody don't like made burgers. It's something for everybody. It's enough for everybody to eat.
Yeah.
Go build your Burger King and don't worry about McDonald's. But
put it right there. Put it right there. Competition is good.
Okay, let's see here. Do you use sites like auction.com and similar sites to find deals? I'm assuming.
Absolutely. Lead generation. You got to use as many lead generating tools as possible because in this business, your lifeline is your leads. If you don't have any leads coming in, you have no way to make money. So it's not one particular source, it's how many sources can I afford to do consistently to bring in as many leads as possible so I have the opportunity to make money.
All right, let's see. I'm still on YouTube, asking questions from there. We've already kind of touched on that. So it's a key word. I wanted to know about Bandit signs being removed. Ty just said, put up a few, see if they stay. If they come down quickly, obviously that's not a place where you want to put up more. If they stay a little while, then you can add to it. Just don't put all of them out at one time in one area because you will be highly disappointed. So I think we've already answered that pretty much. You agree?
We agree.
I agree. Or you can go back and pick them up Sunday night.
Right.
It's a lot, but if you need your signs, go back and pick them up and put them back out next Friday.
Okay. Let's see here. During the due diligence period, is that the time that it takes to find a buyer and close the deal? And will the seller get the earnest money at closing? So Ms. Portia wants to know exactly what happens during the due diligence period on you the seller and then you the buyer.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. When you are a wholesaler, a lot is happening during that due diligence period. Hopefully you already somewhat ran your numbers and therefore you got it on the contract as the lowest possible price. So therefore that due diligence period, if you already ran your numbers before you put it on the contract, that means that during that due diligence period, your focus is just finding that end buyer and marketing that property to your end buyers for a contract. Now, also during that due diligence period is when, if you was doing a fix and flip or whatever the case may be, or you find out or realize that you cannot sell it during that due diligence period, it allows you to back out of that contract without forfeiting your earnest money. So you're doing your due diligence on the property, you're checking the comps, you're getting contractors bid during the due diligence period, make sure your numbers make sense. You get an inspection out there. And this is for, someone who's really going to take this property in possession. Now, if you are just going to wholesale it, your focus is mainly finding an end buyer during that due diligence period. And if you cannot find one, you either want to go back to the seller and say, hey, I need a couple more days of due diligence. I need to get another contractor out there. I need to get my inspector out there. Is there a way that we can increase this due diligence period for another couple of days? Or you go back to them and say, hey, I think the repairs is a little bit more expensive than I thought. I want to cancel my contract.
Okay. Marcella has a good question. When you're going out and you see this property and the seller calls you and it is half renovated, would you still lowball and offer to the seller?
You said the property is half renovated?
Yes.
The offers will always be relative to the numbers. You know, it's all relative. You know, it's relative to the after repair value, is relative to the amount of money that is needed. Now, say for instance, the seller may say that, hey, this property just need another $20,000 and that's it, blah, blah, blah. And then you get your contractor out there and they say, hey, this is going to be $35,000. So now you're going to go back to the seller and say, hey, I know you wanted $75,000 for it, but it's going to be a little bit more than I thought. I can offer you 60. Okay. You know, so when you are lowballing anyone, have, you know, a reason for this lowball offer. Either going to be the repairs is more expensive than it is, or the after repair value is not there. You know, make sure you have some type of argument just in case for the seller to justify why you want this property at a lower price than what they're asking.
All right. Want to say hello to Miss Deborah McGee. She's in Cali. She normally has to watch the replay, but she actually made it to the live. So hello, Miss Deborah. Renikia, Kevin Morris says, I'm in negotiations with a trust attorney on a property that has been vacant for 4 years. There's a bank loan on the property. When I look on the county website, I don't see any tax information. Does the bank continue to pay the taxes while there are no payments being made?
The banks can pay the taxes.
Well, yeah, I think if they're pending foreclosure or what, well, not pending foreclosure, but if if the seller stopped making payments, does the bank still continue to pay the taxes? That's probably going to vary from lender to lender. I would like to say they probably not, because it's built into the payment in a lot of cases. So the bank could just handle those unpaid taxes whenever the foreclosure process happens. I would assume, you know, someone may correct that out there, but I would assume that that's what happens, you know, whenever they've stopped making payments.
Right. So one thing for sure is I personally think they do stop making payments because when you buy a foreclosed property, someone is going to pay for those back taxes. It's always in there. Those back taxes is always in there. So that's one of the things that your attorney or your title agency would do is clear the title. And part of clearing that title is to make sure that all back taxes are paid. So someone has to pay those taxes at the closing table. You have to negotiate who's going to pay that. Either going to be the banks or it's going to be you, but someone is going to pay those back taxes. So I don't think the banks make those payments in foreclosure, but it is paid upon the seller property.
Okay. CJ is bowing out. He's saying good night. Good night, CJ. Kevin wants to know, he got a call from the code enforcement about his signs, but the number is typed through his Google. So should he stop or continue? Because they obviously can't get to him directly. Any suggestions?
I didn't hear the question.
Reiterate, Ty.
I didn't hear it either.
Everybody just, I ain't nobody.
I mean, I can't really hear you.
Because I'm so far away. Nope, not getting closer. Okay, so code enforcement called him by the signs, but the number is tied to his Google voice instead. So
yeah. Stop putting them up. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be that gator. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what type of market you live in. You may have to go to a different municipality to start putting up signs. So So to answer your question, yeah, if they've called you, yeah, stop putting them up.
Yeah, absolutely. And you may that may not be the best practice for your area. You know, maybe you have to do yellow letters or the postcards. So yeah, you know, so determine if they're calling you on the weekends, or do you have your signs up during the week, or are you putting your signs up on the weekends and they're calling you on the weekends as well? So if they're only calling you during the week, maybe just try the weekends, and may try also picking them up on Sunday night. But I won't keep putting my Bandit sign somewhere where I continue to get calls from them. Yeah.
Okay. Travis Riggins, glad to hear that you're loving using PropStream. He says it's a great tool. I hope anyone that has not taken advantage of that does. Before we close out, Renikia, I might have missed it, but I always like making sure that the subscribers are able to contact you and know the services that your company, Funding Key Financials, provides. Guys, if you look on your screen there, her contact information for all social media is there. But I see questions about credit scores, the time frame they're going to get a response, how can they contact you? Go ahead and just answer all those questions for them.
Yes. So most people like to take advantage of my gap funding program. That gap funding program helps you to leverage your credit, take advantage of your credit to get up to $150,000 in unsecured credit. Now, this credit can be used for marketing, but preferably I would prefer people to use this for to start your fix and flip, for the down payment and the expenses that is needed to maybe do your first fix and flip, or to begin to do your buy and holds. But you can use this to invest into your wholesale business as well by putting money towards your marketing. Yes, we do say that, you can buy and sell real estate with absolutely no money, but of course it takes money to make money. And if you want to take this thing to the next level, you want to put a little money back into yourself, into your business, to grow your business. So you want to take advantage of our program, to take advantage of your credit, to leverage your credit, to receive up to $150,000 to invest back into your business, invest back into your wholesale business, or to do your next fix and flip or your first fix and flip. You want to go to findmynextdeal.com. You also see my social media handles there, as well as if you have a quick question, you can email me at funding@fkfinancials.com. Now, once you meet all the conditions, the actual underwriting behind the gap funding program takes about 7 to 10 days. You will begin to get funded immediately once you meet all conditions, take care of the paperwork, and once you submit it, it takes about 7 to 10 days to get you funded as well.
All right, guys, there you have it. Take advantage of the services that Ms. Renikia has to offer. And if you're not quite there yet, keep on working towards it. She would be glad to have her or someone from her staff speak with you. Without further ado, show number 95 has come to a close. We will see you next week for show number 96. 100 is approaching swiftly. Again, that surprise news will be coming to you possibly next week. We look forward to seeing you then next Thursday. Ty, you got anything to say to good peoples?
Again, if you want to know about those probates, go to YouTube and search for Flip Probates and Flip Man behind it, and check out that video with Chad. So informative.
Someone asked about that. They asked, have you done Chad's program?
I'm in it right now.
See, always learning. Never stop learning. You can always learn from someone else, guys. Priceless information.
He's made a hell of a lot more money than me, so I'm in it. There you go.
I'm taking a look at that. You can never stop learning this business. Absolutely not.
That's what's up.
All right, guys. Well, we will see you next Thursday. Same place, same time. Bye.
Bye.